According to National Library of Medicine, about 51% of Nigerian older adults over 60 years of age report having at least one chronic illness. As published on Tribune Online, more than 45% of elderly citizens in Nigeria are left uncared for by both government and family. And according to the International Journal of Advanced Research in Nursing, up to 90% of home care for elderly Nigerians is provided by family members. You have heard the statistics that have just been presented to you, and you may begin to wonder why we are going to talk about the elderly people today on today's episode of Health Matters, your TV health and wellness program. Yomi Ogunye is my name. Today, we are going to focus on the prevention of age-related diseases among the elderly. And doing justice to the issues we'll be raising on this program today is my guest, a healthcare provider, Mrs. Oreoluwa Koka. And Madam, you are welcome to the show.
Mr. Ogunye, thanks for having me.
I told those watching us that you are a healthcare provider.
You are very correct.
You know so much about elderly people because you take good care of them.
Yes, I do.
Long ago, a little boy, saw me when I was just about 40, and he referred to me as an elderly person. I want to believe you may not agree to that I fall at that age of 40 into the context of what you would refer to as elderly people.
No, a 40-year-old man does not fall in the category.
You are absolutely correct.
Yes.
So, in this regard, who are the elderly people? Let's start from there.
Okay, thanks for having me once again. I'm happy to be here. The elderly, we categorize the elderly from age 60 and above. Anyone who clocks 60 is referred or regarded as an elderly person. Although these days we see symptoms, interestingly, we see symptoms of elderly in younger people. And even with that, the elderly, they are still age 60 above. Even though we see all manner of things happening these days in the health sector, people who are young having diseases of people who are old. So it's interesting, and I believe that's one of the reasons we're here.
Thank you very much. 60 and above.
Yes.
So let's take it up from there. Now, okay. I would want you to give us an overview of what health care, delivery or situation is for the elderly in our environment. What can you tell us about this?
Okay. In this environment, the elderly, my own opinion, with what I've seen around, they are not well taken care of. And I can explain that. It's not casting aspersions on anyone. We see this age and time where there's a syndrome called JAPA, and most of the children of this elderly are not around or available to support their aged parents. And I want to take it from there. The very first support should be from the family, because they are the ones who know and are the first set of people who see the symptoms. And of course, most of us might not be able to, we can't even diagnose, but we know that something is wrong, and that's where it starts from. When we notice that something is going wrong, no disease is sudden. From the onset, it's subtle. We begin to see traces, what we call traces, and that's how it starts. And when we ignore the traces, that's when it deteriorates, and then we begin to run around. So what I see around is the elderly are not appropriately and adequately taken care of. Some people believe that they are like a weight. I've seen people who believe that it's stressful to take care of the elderly. I've heard it before. But we are their family. We love them. We are the society. In the African society, we care for our own. We don't. You see people who are 90, 100, and the children are still, crying, teary, sad that they have lost their parents, even though they are elderly, they are aged. So we don't want to lose our own, regardless of the age. So we need to watch closely. I talked about family not being available enough to take care of their elderly. That is where we should start from. because the doctors in the hospitals don't know the symptoms of those at home. It's when we consult them and we tell them, this is the trace. These are the things I've seen in my dad, in my mom. I'm not sure what it is. That's why we're here. So that's where it starts from.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your depth on in answering that question. Now, you've talked about traces or symptoms.
Yes.
If I may ask you, how can we identify these symptoms, of diseases early, so that it will aid or support a quick response to taking care of them?
Okay. I'll start from different diseases or illnesses associated with elderly people. Let's take osteoporosis, which is like them having brittle bones and being susceptible to fractures. Let's talk about dementia. Let's talk about diabetes, and quite a number. For the men, let's talk about prostate enlargement. So when we begin to see, let me take a few, if you permit me, like prostate enlargement, you begin to see that permit me to use the grandpas. They begin to have frequent urination, too frequent, which is unusual. From there, we begin to notice. And how do we know? Even these daddies or grandpas might not know themselves. They might not realize that this is becoming too frequent. But whoever is staying with them, will begin to notice, Daddy, you are going to the toilet too frequently. All is well. We begin to notice from there. For instance, another side is the eyes. We talk about glaucoma. You begin to see that something is wrong. Grandpa is not seeing clearly. And when it's beginning to look strained, that's where we start noticing all these symptoms. Another one is the diabetes. We see a lot of elderly people on insulin today. And we even see people who cannot even afford it, and yet they are on it. These traces we need to notice. These symptoms, they are subtle from the onset. Sometimes, maybe the kind of thing they could tolerate before, they were able to tolerate. They are no longer to tolerate a particular kind of meal, a particular kind of diet. They begin to react to it. Somebody who was okay with maybe vegetable, and suddenly they start reacting. Little vegetable, they start using the toilet. These are symptoms. If we are careful enough and observant enough, we should notice them.
Thank you very much. If we are careful and observant enough, we should notice those symptoms.
Yes.
Now, from your experience as a healthcare provider, I would like you to tell us what are the dominant or common diseases that are associated with the elderly around here.
The first thing I noticed that is very common, diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yes. Aside the sight issue, the hearing issue, diabetes and dementia. Those are the two I've noticed. It's very rampant. Dementia, diabetes.
Why do you think those two are very rampant?
I'll take dementia. Dementia it has to do with mental faculty. Reasoning, thinking, and then action due to that. Firstly, in this environment, we see a lot of, we call them retirees. These are men and women who have worked for years, active service, and suddenly they retire. And when they retire, they are no longer active. In fact, quite a number of them become sedentary. From room to sitting room to kitchen, there's no outdoor
activity.
There's no outdoor activity. And when sedentary lifestyle lingers for years, dementia begins to set in because isolation is part of it. They are no longer excited. There's nothing attractive. For instance, perhaps they like to go out. No one to take them out. They no longer enjoy life. And so because they're isolated, the brain begins to recede gradually. The brain begins to recede gradually. And they begin to think differently. Because the mind is connected. They are getting tired. They are not active. They're not excited about anything. Isolation and sedentary lifestyle associate a lot with dementia.
Thank you very much for that elaborate explanation. You've talked about the symptoms, you've talked about what the doctors can do or what we can do before we get to the hospital. I want you to shed light on the role of a medical checkup can play in sustaining the wellness of the elderly. How often should we present the elderly ones for medical checkup?
Okay. Medical general checkup is different from specific checkup. For instance, talking about the specific checkup, the IBP, which I didn't mention is also part of it. Diabetes, high BP, high blood pressure, dementia. Like the blood pressure. Someone who is over 60 should check, even with or without the history of high BP. Let me pick that illness as example. Should check his or her BP at least once every month, at least. Let's talk about those with the history. I met a doctor some time ago, a medical practitioner. I said, when he checked his BP and it was 160, 100, he was expecting it already. He said because his father had the issue, the health issue, the high blood pressure issue. Because he knew that. A lot of people are not even aware that they had parents with high BP. That they should now be aware and conscious and live checking every now and then. For instance, the high BP, at least, even without any health history, check at least every month. And whoever has the history, check twice, like every fortnight, once in 2 weeks. That's for BP. Several other diseases, monthly checkup is important. Okay, some people 6 months. The people who are on prostate medications, 6 months. Once you hit an individual hits 60 years, at least every 3 months, do checkup.
Thank you very much. When an individual hits 60 years, at least once in 3 months,
Yes.
go for a medical checkup.
Yes.
And we are, thank you very much for watching us for some time. You've been watching and listening to Mrs. Oreoluwa Koka, a healthcare provider who has been telling us quite a lot about how to take good care of the elderly. They are a vulnerable people and they need much of our attention. She has more to tell us, but not until we have observed this break. Don't go away. Welcome back. You are still watching Health Matters, your TV health and wellness program. My guest, Oreoluwa Koka, a healthcare provider, is still very much on set. And madam, once again, I welcome you.
Thank you, Mr. Gay.
You've given us an overview of healthcare situation or condition for the elderly in our environment. A little, you scratched it on the surface in respect of what food they eat. I want you to shed more light on that. Let's talk about the kind of nutrition that is good for the elderly.
Okay, thank you once again, Mr. Agunye. Talking about the nutrition, the diet. Elderly people should not eat heavy meals. First of all, let's talk about the starchy foods. Most of these starchy foods, the end product is glucose, which is sugar. We see a lot of elderly people, they love, not even like pounded yam. And some of them will eat it late in the night. Eating pounded yam by 6:30 is already late. Let alone eating pounded yam like 2 or 3 times in a week. If the elderly can let go of foods like processed rice, the white rice, and replace it with brown rice or what we call here ofada rice. Because rice is heavy in sugar, sucrose. Some of them believe, I'm not used to drinking Coca-Cola, I don't take too much. All these things, these carbohydrates, the concentration in the body, when the liver processes it, it results into sucrose. If the elderly can let go of so much of diets of like yam, the semu, we have a lot of them. If you look at our diets in Nigeria, basically, we have a lot of the pupuru, the semo, the yam, the rice, the bread, filled with carbohydrates. And the funny thing is, even when we're eating the rice, we don't put things like cabbage, carrots, cucumber, to embellish it
and
to balance the food. So even when they eat rice, I mentioned, let them let go of white rice. Brown rice is better, or ofada rice. They should add cabbage, carrots, and in moderate quantity. Moderate quantity. Elderly people, everybody, we're talking about elderly, we all need to take a lot of water. Elderly people need to take, some of them are afraid. I've heard an elderly person say, I can't drink water, I'm not taking water along, I will be looking for where to ease myself. I said, drink the water first, then find where you ease yourself. Because your body needs it. They should take a lot of water. Of course, in moderate quantity. The food, of course, nothing like pastries anymore for elderly. No meat pies, no donuts. They can take biscuits, non-sweetened, unsweetened biscuits. A lot of vegetables. I'm still going to fruits. A lot of vegetables. Elderly people, when they wake up in the morning, take warm water. Those who don't have ulcer issues, add a little bit of lemon or cinnamon. And it shouldn't be hot, just a little lighter than, warmer than room temperature in the morning. The next thing they should take is fruits before breakfast. Fruits in moderate quantity. I'm already going to how the day should be for an elderly person. Fruits, because the water and the fruit will aid the digestion. And meals in the morning should not be heavy. I've seen an elderly who said she eats by 11. I believe it's too late.
By 11 a.m.
Yes,
too late?
Because depending on when she had her dinner, maybe the dinner was 6, 7, you fasted all night. By morning, you'll be hungry.
So what time should breakfast be taken?
For me, for an elderly, 10 a.m. is fine. Because many people eat late, and by the time they're going to eat it, the bowl is full. The plate is full because they're already hungry. And the body is yearning for the food. And the way they feel is how they consume the food. So if you eat by 10 a.m., you eat moderate quantity, it can sustain you till afternoon.
When exactly in the afternoon?
By 2.
2 p.m.
It's fine, yes. And of course, because these days people are busy at work, it doesn't have to be a real meal. It could be a smoothie. Yes, it could be a smoothie, a cup of smoothie with unsweetened biscuits. Just to, the basic thing at that time is to give you energy to proceed for the rest of the day. Any dinner later than 6:30 is too late. Because the body has to digest to an extent before you lie down.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And I want to believe many, including myself, are benefiting, learning from all that you have said. Now, you have talked about nutrition. We've also talked earlier about the symptoms. Again, taking this from what you mentioned earlier, you observed that elderly people are sedentary, yes, and that can have a negative impact on their health.
Yes.
Now, what would you recommend as, simple daily activities that they can imbibe, which will keep them active and help in the sustenance of their health?
Thank you once again, Mr. Ogoye. To start the day, 30 minutes normal walk for elderly in the morning before the sun comes out. Depending on when they wake up, between 7 and 7:30, 30 minutes normal work is fine in the morning. Having a walk in the morning or in the evening is highly therapeutic for the mind. In a big way, it's therapeutic for the mind. For instance, in this part of the world, when you're working in the morning, you don't have to know the person that is beside you. Good morning. Hello. Have a nice day. All these little things, they help the mind. 30 minutes work in the morning. When they get back home, the normal routine, relax. These elderly people, give them Ludo.
To play.
Let them play Ludo. Ludo is not mind tasking. They don't have to use the screen. It's not everything that is on the phone. Let them play Ludo. 2 or 3 times a week, take them out. Let them go to the shopping mall. Let them do the window shopping. It doesn't have to be every day. Like I said, twice or thrice a week. Let them do window shopping. Some of them are closely religious. Encourage them to go for midweek services. Let them meet people.
Thank you. That's very good. I believe that will be enough to keep them busy. As we come to a close, I would like you to tell us this. You started by mentioning the family, and I also want us to end on that note.
Okay.
What role do you think the family can play in this regard?
Thank you once again, sir. The family has to be supportive. We have to be supportive. These are our parents. Even if they're not our biological parents, believe me, any elderly around you or me, we should support them. Already, I want to use the word, to them, they believe they're in a dire situation. Like they're helpless. Let me use the word. Already, they believe they're helpless. So they are relying on us. I have elderly people who their sights are bad that they cannot even operate the phone. And they will call, can you help me? I want to call this person. They have to communicate with their loved ones too, because these are the things that keep them going. They have friends they grew up with. So we need to support them. We shouldn't be tired that they are too reliant on us. The truth is, when they go, we'll miss them. Even if they are not our biological parents, the little time we spent with them, we'll miss them. So while they are here, we should support and take care of them in our own way.
In our own way.
Yes.
We should support and take good care of them.
Yes.
And I believe everyone listening to you know the import of that statement. Thank you very much, Mrs. Oreoluwa Koka, for being with us on this show.
Thank you.
Today we talked about health care for the elderly, and we talked about how we can prevent the age-related diseases that may affect them. Quick response to them, will go a long way in sustaining their health. Some other time we'll bring you back to this seat. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And viewer, thank you very much for watching us. Mrs. Oreoluwa Koka, a healthcare provider, has been doing much talking here. Among other things, he enjoins us all to take good care of the elderly ones within us, because we will miss them when they leave or die or pass away. But before that time, we should do enough to make sure that they spend their old age in good health. Yomi Ogunye is my name, and this is where we drop the anchor on today's episode of the show. Join us again same time next week. Thanks for watching us, and goodbye.